Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. My name is Rebecca Ravenbird and today I am showing you a Procreate speed paint. So I don't know if I've ever said anything on this channel, but I actually do art as a hobby. I do traditional art. I usually use colored pencil for my art, but I can use some other stuff. But yeah, I am a colored pencil artist. It's always been a hobby for me, but I've always wanted to try doing digital art. So this is my very first official finished piece of art that I've done on Procreate specifically. And this was a study. So a study is when you focus on a very specific thing in a reference photo to improve upon. So there were two things I really wanted to practice and focus on in this study. So number one, I wanted to practice how to use Procreate as a whole in general. So using layers, experimenting with custom brushes, and using color palettes as well. And I was also trying to study realism, so making sure that all of my colors were accurate, all of the values had enough contrast, and also placing shadows and highlights and tones all in the right places. So you may notice that in the very beginning of this video, yes, I did trace the outline of the horse's body and the eye and the nostril, and I do know that there is a lot of debate and controversy about whether it's okay to trace or not. And yeah, I'm very aware of that controversy, so I wanted to just mention, why did I trace the outline of the horse? Well, like I just mentioned, there was only two things that I was focusing on in this particular study. Once again, it was learning how to use Procreate in general as a whole, and then also studying pretty much coloring, right? Making sure I'm coloring correctly. I was not focused on the anatomy or the proportions or anything like that. So I wanted to save myself a little bit of time, a little bit of energy, so that way I could just focus on placing things and placing colors in the right places and not having to also worry about if the anatomy was correct to support that. So again, yes, I did trace, but I hope that answers your question on like why I traced it. So you may be wondering, well, why did I choose this reference photo? Well, I chose this because of three things: simple colors, simple background, and simple pose. So the colors, I wanted just a solid color horse. I didn't want any pintos or paints or Appaloosas or anything like that. I wanted something really easy so that way I could just focus on getting a base layer and then adding a couple highlights and shadows on that, rather than having to also worry about getting a specific coat pattern right, such as like, you know, like a pinto or paint or Appaloosa, right? Appaloosas are kind of hard to do because they have a specific pattern. But then also with the background, I didn't want to do anything with like leaves or trees in the background. I just wanted to focus on the horse specifically. So I wanted something easy with a background naturally. And then with the pose, I didn't want to do a full body piece. I really just wanted to do like a head and maybe a neck, like an upper portrait basically of a horse. So then I want to talk about how long it took me to complete this piece. I honestly don't know how long it took me. What I did was, anytime I was trying to load up a video game, so like I was trying to load Minecraft or Star Stable or Wild Horse Islands, I would actually do this drawing while the game was, you know, loading. And so it would only take me a few minutes because like each game only loads within like a minute or so. Minecraft always took a long time, but whatever. So I don't know how many times like I did that. I did like a lot of repetitions of, you know, waiting for the game to load and then doing the drawing and then things like that. So it took me, I would say that it took about at least 2 hours to do this. I really don't know how long it took me, because I didn't just sit down and finish this piece of art in one sitting. No, I spread it out over a couple of weeks. So then you may be wondering, well, how many layers did I use? I only used 4 layers, and I know some artists, depending on the type of art that they do, they will use at least double that. So what I did was one layer for the outline, right? So the tracing that you saw me do at the very beginning, I did one layer for that. Technically, the reference photo counted as a layer because I don't really like using the reference tool that comes with Procreate. So I use the basic, you know, layer to add and import a photo, and that was its own layer, and then the background was its own layer. And then the main portion of the horse, when I colored it, that was its own layer as well. So luckily the horse did not have any sort of mane or tail. If the horse had a mane and tail, like an actual like long flowing mane and tail, I probably would have put those as separate layers, but I didn't, so there was only 4 layers in this entire piece. So then you may be wondering, what brushes did I use? Well, first of all, I used the Petra's Pencils pack, and specifically I used the Real Pencil. So the Real Pencil, it works just like a real colored pencil. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I grew up using colored pencils, so I wanted a brush that looked like colored pencil. So I grabbed that pencil, I really like it, and I use the same thing to, smudge and blend and stuff like that. But then the other brush that I use is a Procreate default. I use the Studio Pen, and I actually just use this to clean up the edges and do some erasing. Like if I had colored outside the lines a little bit, I would use the Studio Pen because it's nice and crisp. So I chose, again, these two brushes just because the Petra's Pencil felt like a colored pencil and the Studio Pen was a nice way to erase, and I didn't even use the Studio Pen as a brush. I used it as an eraser. So really the only brush that I actually used was the Petra's Pencil. So again, be sure to check the description of this video for a link to that brush pack, and I hope you enjoy it. I wanted to also take some time to talk about some art inspiration. So on Instagram, you should definitely check out Kate Summer Camp. Kate Summer Camp's logos and other artworks for horses, fabulous. A very unique way of shading. I really like the way that Kate adds a lot of great contrast and values to all of her artwork. I also really like Felicia Dragon Camp. I love the blending that Felicia Dragon Camp does. Catherine Shortcloud is actually a member of my club, Emerald Hunters, on Star Stable. You should totally check her out. The lighting that she does for her horse art, I absolutely love it. And then some other horse artists, so you might want to check out Lots the artist, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Stella Equus and Equine Art by Janie as well. I'll put all of their names on the screen. But then also too, another video game, the art for that game I really like is Horse Reality. Horse Reality has beautiful colors, beautiful horse art. I just love Horse Reality's game art. Very, very nice. The last thing I want to talk about is commissions. Will I take commissions? Do I take commissions? Honestly, ever since I started drawing, I've wanted to make a way to sell my art or just give art to people. And now that I finished this specific piece of art, I've considered it. I don't know if I'm going to open commissions or not, but I've thought about it, and I think it could be a fun way of getting a little extra cash here and there. So if you have any tips about doing commissions, like if you are an artist or you know any tips about doing art commissions, please let me know in the comments below. I want to say though that this piece of art that you see on the screen right now is not for sale. I'm never going to sell it. I'm never going to give it away, and it is my piece of art. I do have a big watermark on the screen right now, so yeah, it's my art. It's my very first finished piece. I really don't want to sell it or anything like that. Will I continue to make art on this channel? Maybe. I might show you some speed paints and stuff like that. I'm not sure if I want to, continue posting anything, because I know I like to do gameplay tutorials and gameplay in general on this channel. So I don't know, but you never know. I might consider doing it. Alright everybody, I hope you'll take time to check out all of those artists on Instagram and download that Procreate brush pack, the Petra's pencils that I mentioned earlier. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye everybody!